The reason we launched it, we tried to find a cleaner in London, realised that to book a cleaner at the time, this is only like 2.5 years ago or whatever, you had to call someone, it was all cash in hand, you didn't know who was turning up. If they did a bad job, you kind of, that was it. If they stole something, you know, they'd disappear into the night. So our kind of initial idea was just to bring that whole concept online, so just a channel shift, right? The idea being that you can go online, you can book a cleaner, you can tell us exactly when you want them to arrive. They turn up, you know they're background checked, vetted, that they're going to do a good job. If they break something by accident, then you've got a company to go back to, which is insured. All payments like done automatically. Kind of that was the idea to start with, I guess.
Yeah, and it kind of went. So we launched. We had the idea kind of in November, maybe October 2012. Launched a really simple test site in April 13. Did like 3 bookings, I think, in our first month. So it was about £80 of revenue. Woohoo! And then we took it through. So we went, and then we had kind of steady month-on-month growth. Raised some money from some friends, family, and contacts. About £30,000 in June 13. Started to grow quicker, and then raised what? About 1.5 million in December 2013.
Yeah.
And then went from there, so then raised that from a European venture capital fund. And then went kind of a lot quicker. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then kind of since then, obviously it's grown, and then we were basically raising Series A in August last year. So we had a few options, Series A being one of them. And then Handy approached us, who are kind of #1 now globally, based out of New York in the US, and they offered to buy us basically, and kind of at the time it felt right. So yeah, so we sold to Handy, and we basically rolled into them, and then we've been running kind of Handy UK for the last sort of 10 months. So yeah, so that's kind of where we are. So in quite a short space of time, we kind of grew a company from zero and then sold it.
Yeah, so it's like we've got one thing, like hopefully, like we like to do these things where we'll give a brief intro and then there's no questions, but from our perspective, where we can maybe like have a bit of advice, is we did kind of taking a company from an idea and nothing,
yeah,
to a couple of employees and a little bit of revenue, through to raising a reasonable seed round, dealing with venture capitalists, ops, hiring, marketing, and then going from sort of 0 to 5 million, 5 to 10 million, 15 million in revenue, and kind of, lessons we've made. God knows how many mistakes.
A lot of mistakes.
Wrong turns, good things happened, bad things happened. But it's been kind of, like a crazy 2.5 years, I guess. It's very quick, but feels, on my hairline, feels like it's been a lot longer.
Yeah, it's tiring.
Yeah.
It's tired, right? Bit of an emotional roller coaster. But yeah, look, that's in a nutshell, that's the story of us and Mopp. I think for us, we were kind of at a time in life where we kind of wanted to try something new. Like we're in corporate jobs. We kind of knew that we're never going to be in them forever. So really for us, it was like, what can we do? What opportunities are out there? So like, we'd be completely honest about it. We were looking at opportunities in general. Cleaning, the idea of cleaning kind of came to us. Like we needed a cleaner, and we found it kind of alien to be at that stage, like a couple of years ago, like picking up the phone and ringing someone, and we're thinking surely there should be like some sort of online booking function. So kind of cleaning came to us, but I guess in general, like cleaning isn't that sexy, but as Pete kind of said earlier, it's the home, like actually owning the home is. So it's like cleaning, handyman, laundry, like how far can you actually go? So if you want anything for your home, you go to Handy, and that's the real vision, and that's kind of sexy, because it's a huge market. So but yeah, initially, look, we like a lot of people, corporate jobs, wanted to do our own startup, wanted to be our own boss, thought it was a good idea, and went for it, and kind of we were lucky it worked. That was the initial motivation.
Yeah, we hated our jobs.
Yeah, we did. What scared me was staying in my job. So the risk for me, and I think probably Pete's the same, the risk for us wasn't leaving, it was staying where I was. I was like, if I stay in this job forever, that's to me a risk, yeah. If I go and do something I really want to do, it's kind of not a risk, right? Because whatever happens, I'm learning and I'm enjoying it. So, so for us, the decision was fairly easy. Pete actually like left or handed in his notice before we even launched. I handed mine in after we'd had one booking, so that was my validation. We got one booking, I was like, this is going to work, we're there. So yeah, so that's me de-risking maybe.
I think we got to a point because it was kind of, I think I'd done 5 years, so I was doing private equity and M&A law at a big like American law firm. And I enjoyed the first couple of years, but I just knew I didn't want to be there. So it was scary. Definitely have moments when you have your peers as well, kind of all your friends are bankers or consultants or accountants or lawyers, and you're in this kind of almost stupid race, and you know, everyone, don't say it, but everyone secretly does compare how you're doing in your career and whatever. But I think we were both just at a point that I just checked out of that. I just had no desire to continue. You looked at the partners and something, and people weren't that happy. You're earning all this money, you're doing this stuff, but you're not happy, and it just seemed kind of crazy.
Yeah, true.
So it was definitely scary, and there were definitely moments in the first few months of the company when you do think, holy shit, have we done the right thing here? Like, you know, we've done like 9 bookings, that's like £200 of revenue. That is not profitability.
But again, what drives, and this is what we found, what drives you on at those times was, if this fails, shit, I've then got to go and ask my boss for my job back, right? You know, and so that really, for me, anyway, was like, it drove me on. It's like, I want this more than anything. I do not want that life. You know, this has to work, basically. And kind of, we were lucky, definitely. Yeah. So Handy acquired us last August, and we rolled into them. So kind of we own stock in Handy. In the short term, we want to like be the global #1 in kind of home services. Learn as much as possible. One good thing we've had exposure to kind of almost like the next level. So like Handy have raised $45 million,
about
I think,
60,
or more, 60, sorry, to date. And it's kind of like, how do you take it from initial idea? You know, we took it from the idea to kind of good traction, but then how do you really kind of accelerate away? So we've had really good exposure there. Short term, like, we just want to own this market and be #1. Long term, I think we'd be lying if we weren't going to give it another go and do something else. We've made too many mistakes and learned so much that we hopefully next time around will be even bigger and better and faster.
I think it is. I think once you do this once you build a business or even starts the business and you survive and you learn so much, it must be at some point to not give it another shot and try and avoid some of those potholes would be crazy. And we love building marketplaces. I think as well, you know, I was lucky in that, you know, working with like best friend, we managed to build a business together. That's like pretty cool. So it'd be a shame not to we like building marketplaces. So I guess long term it'd be maybe something similar, maybe something different, but in that space that we could get our teeth into again.
Thank you. What is your philosophy philosophy, motto of life, and your favorite quote?
Oh man,
jeez, that's caught me off the guard. I don't know. I don't really know. My philosophy is probably, I kind of enjoy what you do. It's pretty simple. I always say I grew up on a farm, and my dad just works 24/7. And kind of when you're younger, you're like, why are you working so much? And he's working so much because he just loves what he does. It's not about the money. It's not about anything else. He just enjoys what he does. And kind of, I think I didn't get that feeling working for like a corporate, a company or working for someone else. But I got that feeling working for Mopp. I can see now why he works so much. So with me, it's just like enjoy what you do. I think it's fairly simple.
Yeah,
that's off the top of my head.
Enjoy what you do. And then I remember reading this quote. I can't remember who I've captured. No, not that one. But there's two. Well, there's one Tom will say because we're actually flatmates as well. It's like the most intense relationship ever.
Shit, yeah, true.
So Tom's got a really cool poster reaching out, which I think is a great motto that we're going to take going forward. But what I found was basically be comfortable being uncomfortable. So kind of, I think I went for quite a few years. I was in a position personally where, you know, you go to university, you do quite well, and then you go to this law firm, and you kind of ticking the boxes. But I wasn't really putting myself in a position where I was kind of really putting myself out there into something that's a bit risky or dangerous. And then there was a quote, just be comfortable being uncomfortable. So basically put yourself, go all out. Don't be scared to do things that maybe others wouldn't do, and you may be going against the tide. It's almost like all the fish are going downstream and you're this weird one that's trying to go upstream. But I just found that when you do that, good things tend to happen. And that's from meeting people to ideas coming up, to taking risks. I think calculated risks can be hugely rewarding, and you tend to, I think, just have a far more varied, interesting life.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess don't be afraid to give it a go, right? it's easy for me to say, but now we're in a time when it's so easy to like launch companies and do whatever, launch businesses, that you've just really got to go for it. And then also once you're doing it, you really have to work hard. Like when we first started out, we moved into like a shared co-working space, and this is maybe our background, you know, help with this, but like, so we're in the shared, there are loads of startups in that, and like everyone would just leave at like 5:30, 6 in the evening, and we'd be there until like midnight, and we're just like, where is everyone? What's going on? And like, I don't know, did any of them like achieve?
No, I don't know.
I don't think anyone
tough,
did, right?
Yeah,
It's
I think you're trying
like
to get it
really
right, but
yeah,
work like, especially when you're younger, I think, and you've not got a family and you've not got a mortgage, you're not in this big commitment.
You can afford to do it.
Your 20s and whatever is a time when you can kind of just go all out. I think one thing for a startup, I know work-life balance is important and you have to have the times, but I'm kind of a believer, seeing the first 12 months of a company, you kind of really have to go gangbusters, and go down and be scrappy. I think some companies now, you see them and you meet people, and loads of companies doing really well. But what sometimes people want to skip the scrappy phase. You almost want to start, but be like cool straight away and just go to conferences and get that cool thing and raise the money immediately. But you haven't done the stuff that actually makes the company successful. So for Tom and I, we did all the customer service ourselves the first 9 months of Mopp. We, you storyboard the whole company. We flyered every day in London for a whole summer. We met hundreds of potential customers. It's kind of those things where you're in the heart of the company. We onboarded the first 500 cleaners. We onboarded ourselves. We met them all personally. They had our mobile number. Like, I still get random phone calls from a cleaner asking for directions or asking a random question about payment. But those things, I actually think, sounds a bit cliched. I'm adamant that they massively contributed to what we did. And I think if we'd have kind of raised money and just hired people straight away to do those functions, it wouldn't have been the same company. Kind of, we're in the ivory tower and people are doing their thing. I think be scrappy. That's the thing I say, and that applies for opportunities. If you want to get some experience, that means find a thing you're interested in. Reach out to founders. Reach out to companies. Say, this is me. Don't be worried. Like, approach people and try and get some experience. It can crazy things. I remember we hired one of our best customer service people. He tapped us on the shoulder on a bus and heard us talking about Mopp and said, guys, I've just arrived from Scotland, I'm looking for a job.
Just like awesome.
And we hired him.
Yeah.
Came in for an interview that night, I think, and we hired him. Started the next day. And he was awesome.
And he's I'd say our best.
He was really good.
Best customer service.
Yeah.